Thank you for coming today. My name is Hussein Mao. I'm here to MC and help relegate conversation between students who are presenting today and everyone else. I've been part of the Telling Room for many years, and I'm glad to be doing this today. The Telling Room is a nonprofit organization that works with young youth from age 6 to 18 who basically have inspiring stories, and they give them a platform to share those stories. One of the main programs at the Telling Room is the Young Writers and Leaders Group, which comes 2 days a week from 3:30, I believe, to 4:30, right? 6, never mind. Sorry about that. 6. And many of these students that are going to be presenting today are a part of it. Each will share their name and what years they have been a part of the Telling Room. Now I'll hand it over to Nafiso Ali, who will start us off.
Hi, my name is Nafiso Ali. I've been a part of the Telling Room for 3 years. I've done multiple different programs, and I'm sharing my piece called Opportunity. As a young child, whenever I had a hard time falling asleep, I would lay next to my mother and ask her about her life. She always had the most amazing stories to tell. On one night, I asked my Hoyo, what was Somalia like? What made you move? My mother replied, peace itself wasn't peaceful in my home country, due to what seemed like a never-ending civil war. Being born and raised in the U.S. and never witnessing hardships, talking to my mom always made me appreciate the life I was blessed with. I speak both English and Somali fluently to my teachers, family, and friends. For example, when my mom was cooking and she asked me for the basta, the bur, sonkor, isali, I need to understand what she's asking for in Somali. I need to know that she's asking for the pasta, the flour, the sugar, and the oil, and likewise for everything else. I am the youngest of 5 children. My mother was barely home because she had to work 2 full-time jobs to provide for us. She would work during the day and get out late hours of the night. I always felt like I was older than my age because I was always around my older siblings. My mother went to school for a period of time in Somalia, but then one day she had to drop out. Not because she wanted to, but she was given the choice between her safety and her education. She wasn't willing to trade education for self-respect, even knowing that greater knowledge would guide her to a brighter future. She wasn't willing to give that up. She was not letting anyone abuse her. This wasn't the path she wanted to go on. Her past had to be one that she was proud of, one that if she looked back, she wouldn't have any regrets. Like my mother, people who are forced to leave their homelands for one reason or another would end up facing hardships in countries like the U.S. Biggest problem being language barriers and culture shock. People like my mother, who are hard-working and intellectual human beings, don't have the advantage that many Americans have in this country. They did not get free education, and many times their childhood was stolen from them. My mother is so strong and so empowering that I wanted to honor her hard work, dedication, and resilience. When her daughter and nephew were murdered, when her husband was murdered, when her father was murdered, when she got dragged away from her mother's corpse when she was only 3 months old, she herself has a bullet wedged in between her toes because of the war. She never gave up. She never blamed her hardships on anyone. She trusted her Lord, she loved hard, worked hard, and conquers all barriers. Pride, genuine, hope, conquer, strive. This is my mother. And then next we have me.
Hi everyone, my name is Ning. I've been in the Telling Room for a couple years, and I have done the Young Writer Leader last year. So title of my story is My Family. I am a child of 2 Vietnamese and I am a child of 2 Vietnamese parents who risked everything to give me an American dream. Without them, I may not have an opportunity to attend to school, meet my new friend, new teacher, and have a chance to create my own dream. My experience as an immigrant child growing up in U.S. made me gain success and let me know more about how people treat each other. Later on, my parents moved here. It's been a very tough life for them, and I almost wish they never came here. Why? Because of language. The way they used to live was different than here. Then they have jobs that they hate. And I have to watch them hate themselves because of all this factor. Like all Asian parents. They always try to hide themselves from me because they are afraid that I might stop thinking about my dream. Sometimes I wish that they never came here. I love them to death and cannot handle to see them so sad. As a daughter, I cannot do anything to make them happy. Never talk to them, never really say that I love them. But they did everything for me. To make me happy, they work just because they want to make money for me, to be able to feed me, buy me stuff. Then I realized, what have I done for them? Nothing, not at all.
Hi, my name is Will, and I've been in television for 4 years. And this piece I'm going to read, I wrote it 2 years ago when I was in the YWL. I'm an immigrant, a kid, a someone else's child. I'm a student, a sister, a cousin. I'm a person who loves her family, friends, school, and her life. I'm a person who's proud of herself. A person who loves music, dancing, and seeing people smile. I'm a kid that has parents, a home, a culture. I'm loved by my family, friends, and others. A student that learns her lesson and tries to do her best. A student who sometimes feels shy. I'm a student who learned English in just 5 months. I remember when I was in middle school, I had a friend named Marisa. Her first language was French, like me. One day we were in class, and I remember her saying to me, I will never be able to speak English. When she said those words, they went into my mind. Those words made me think about me and how I learned English when I first arrived in America from the RC. I told Marisa that I knew she could do this. I told her that one day she would wake up and just be speaking it. I knew this was true because I had experienced it myself. I used certain tricks to learn English. My tricks were lip reading, listening to English music, and using Rosetta Stone at school. But mostly, the way I learned it was practicing with other kids living in a shelter in Portland with me. Let me tell you more about how we did it. When we moved to Portland, we lived in the homeless shelter for 5 months. There are 6 of us in my family. My 3 brothers, Eden, Lord, Jude, my mom, my dad, and me. The shelter gave us a big room because we're a big family. We shared a room and slept on bunk beds. There was a bathroom, a kitchen, and a hallway that was shared with 4 other families from Djibouti, Ghana, Angola, and South Africa. The most important rule at the shelter was that you had to be inside by 8 o'clock at night. At night, out of respect, we waited until all our friends had finished talking and gone into their rooms. Then, all of us kids would come out and gather at the bench in a common space and practice English together. You might ask yourself, why did I want to practice English with kids I didn't even know? Well, we all wanted to make friends. And we all wanted to understand the language. Every night, we would come out of our rooms and try. Sometimes we play Monopoly and read the playing card games out loud to each other. That helped us memorize English words and understand how they sound when you say them. Sometimes words reminded me of French words, and that helped too. This was what we did every night. The time passed. One day while watching TV, I stopped for a moment and told myself, Rod, you can understand every single word this person is saying in English. When someone asks me, how long have I lived in the United States? I tell them 1 year. The look on their face is incredible. I can see that they are surprised and want to know more about me. They ask me how long did it took you to learn English, and I say 5 months. They always said, oh my God, 5 months. That is incredible and amazing. I always smile when they say that. It makes me unique, and it makes my story unique. Now I feel confident in myself. When I hear someone who's new to Maine and say they were afraid they will never learn, speak, or understand English, what I do now is tell them how I learned English, how I was excited to learn it, how I use my learning tricks to listen and understand, how I practice my English every night with kids younger than me. I tell them to just do your best, keep going, and always smile. You will make it. Now, welcome Sarah.
All right. Hey everyone, my name is Sarah, and I'm 16 years old, and I've been part of the telling room this year. I'm currently in the telling room. And my story is called Young American, Also Arab. Ira is born into love and sacrifice. Her father, her Baba, once said she was a child worth dying for. He risked his life to get her milk, to feed her bones, to grow her heart while bombs flew over their heads. War. The family pressed on in bravery as the crusade boomed outside the door. Her mother, warm, strong, a she-wolf looking on, kept a peeled eye on her daughters. Her father, quiet in his selflessness, searched the rubble for hope, scoured the land to nourish the girls. He thought only of them, never of himself. I will do whatever it takes. And the streets ran red in bloodshed. Her father's crusade came to a jeering halt. He was captured. Under the cover of twilight, he'll look to the moon, protect my girls, he begged, and his prayer leaped into the sky. Child, the girl is now 2, old enough to believe in miracles. She took her twin sister by the hand as they looked up at their mother, too short, barely reaching her knees. Grabbing her abaya, the cloth that she wore to protect her from sharp, which is Noor, while she was picking tomatoes from a stand. From the same street that was once full of life and trees, now filled with ashes and despair. Out of the haunting stillness, her mother's phone rang. It was her husband's voice. The bag of tomatoes dropped and scattered, like marbles in the dirt. Where are you? She screamed silently. She clutched her abaya tight. Her eyes widened and shined, like the light of a rising sun. Her father's voice was almost unrecognizable. Plan a way to come to Syria, he cried. He had escaped death, drawn courage from a place inside his chest, his precious girls in his racing mind. Adrenaline exploding from the soles of both feet, he ran towards the border, risking it all for the loves of his life. Syria. Flee. A 36-hour trip on a silent bus, filled with bodies, stories floating through the air, faces who had seen horrible things, strangers she somehow already knew. She could hear their eager hearts beating. Arriving, at last they could breathe, they exhaled, the greatest sigh of relief. Her father appeared at the border, holding their passport between his palms in prayer, waiting for them to arrive, unite, embrace, shedding tears of joy. A family recruited from a brutal divide. Accepted. 6 years. It was here, Syria, she lived her best life. In an apartment that wasn't big enough, but they were grateful in many ways. Now with a brother who was always there for her. She was never scared. Father worked as a mechanic and electrician, mother threaded and did hair. Under the care of a safe roof, a home built from strength, she was filled with love. Things started to change. Syria became her second bad place. The darkness crept into her again. She was frightened, not for herself, but for the family that kept her sane. She now understands war more than ever. She heard gunshots roaring like a hard rain, unsure if it was people paying respect for those passed, or people being shot at left for dead. Why, she thought. Yesterday the whole country was laughing, dancing, and now the land went quiet. Lives were being threatened. She worried for her life, her family's. She worried she might never hear their voices or her own again. America, blossoming. At the age of 9, she fled yet again, only this time they knew it was right. She couldn't speak English. Things were newer every day. There was a heaviness in her breath, but the girl was brave, braver than most. She pushed herself, her limits. She rode the waves. She lifted her head to the sky. Here I come. From a newcomer, to a refugee, to an immigrant, to a shining citizen star. She was now every inch an American. She earned her rights. She respected herself. She evolved. Like the ocean to the sky, she painted her own colorful world. never looking back. Her dreams became her reality. Today, the girl has a message to send. Build yourself. Create something. Be painlessly human. Pray. Become awakened. Be unsatisfied. If you want more in life, and if you're shifting, let yourself breathe. Breathe again. Be calm. Be generous with the love you give yourself. She lived twice, and you can too. Young American, also Arab.
My name is Tutu. I'm 17 years old and I'm currently in the Telling Room program. My poem is called Morals and Thoughts. Broad is the road that leads to destruction, worldly affairs of governmental corruption, communities divided, our morals subsided, implementations of war undecided. Our people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge, a terrible truth we are yet to acknowledge. Guns in the streets because our youth are misguided. Fathers indicted, so we lean to violence. No doctors and lawyers, we'd rather be patients. You laugh, you say we're a united nation. Rebuke a civilian for political opinions, while the enemy schemes and plots for dominion. Wicked society, guilty defiantly, laws made to protect us are killing us silently. Defendant wants free another victim to protest. Neglected and fearful, so we silence the subject. Juxtapositions of divided minorities, oppressed and distressed because our enemy's the authority. Doctrines inflicted, so believers reluctant, because it's judgment to say with a judgment. Priests and prophets only in it for profit, too ashamed to acknowledge our people have fallen. Speaking of God comes with great repercussions. His name is subtracted from every discussion. Disabled mentalities, no principalities, fatal outcomes of our society's casualties. Narrow is the road that will lead to eternity. Bear my cross daily while I die internally. Antagonist boasting, wolf in sheep's clothing, my people were lost. These are morals and thoughts. Morals and thoughts, check your morals and thoughts. Next we have Maria.
So my name is Maria. Some may complicate it with Mary or Maria, but I don't really mind, so either is okay. I'm 18 years old and I'm currently in the YWL program. First of all, before I start, I'd like to give a shout out to all the kids here for coming and attending. My teacher, Mr. Roby, and definitely Shima, Sonia, Molly, and everybody else. My title is called My Civil Movement Passed Down. In the lit moonlight, my beautiful land, no man's land. The identity that shines like a lamppost so bright, never fades nor dies. My tongue speaks history. My hands and feet tell stories. My people are resilient. We aren't loud and obnoxious, but yes, when we raise our voice, it's to be heard. This system has never wanted to hear us. It's skilled at portraying us. So what do you see? Just look at me. Well, I ain't that bad looking or whatever. A young black girl who is too young to speak out. A young black girl who is too young to understand. A young black girl who is too young to know or is too incapable. Well, no, I ain't that. I learned to be strong as a woman. I also learned how to be strong as a black person. The society can be so cruel to us. The women who carry, give birth, and raise, I give praise. They accept what they can't deny. Hard-working women, not household women, you know, all these stereotypes, no wonder why. Women who fight, strive, and never lets out cries. Women who know their history and stand for it like the evolutionary. once said, "Don't let them fool you or school you." My skin from my mom and her mom and so on. I'm proud. I never look down because that don't define my crown. My identity is my beauty and my blackness. My hands and my prayers. The spices of my culture and the rhythm of my home.
I'd like to introduce to you the funniest, most goofiest person on the block of your any class, Irene.
Hi guys. The title of this story is called A Blast from My Past. Hi guys, my name is Irene Yasabimana. This is a story about the Hutus, the Tutsis, my family and I. The people are called the Hutus and Tutsis because when the French colonized us, they divided us by Hutus and Tutsis. The Tutsis were the ones who had European features and the Hutus were the opposite. When the French was there, the Tutsis had more attention by the government than the Hutus. So that caused a riot when the French left. So a war happened. That's what caused my parents to leave Congo and move to Burundi. This is a tragic story that happened in Gatumba, Burundi. Before I was born, there was already a war, so my parents moved to Gatumba, and there was the camp. And that was where the camp was. Before the genocide happened, there was a family gathering. Everyone came to say sorry to each other, and they had their last meal, as if they knew what was going to happen later on that night. When we went to sleep, we started to hear gunshots. My mom got up and put my little sister on her back, and she was 1, and I was 2, turning 3. My birthday was August 16, and genocide was August 13. So thank God I got to live to see my birthday. But anyways, as my mom was tying my little sister on her back, she took me by my hands and we started to run. My dad ran with my older sister and sorry guys. My brother, I don't know where I was at. But anyways, my mom was tying my little sister on her back, and she took me by my hands, and we started to run. My dad ran with my older brother and my sister, and my other older brother ran with my sister and my cousin. When my mother was running, she got shot on her fingers. The bullets went through me. The place where it went, it was on my knees. Later on, they shot me on the opposite leg, and that was my left leg. My mom later on realized that, so she took my mom and that woman. Oh, sorry. Alright. So they shot me in the opposite leg, and that was my left leg. My mom later on realized that, so she took me to the house to make the bleeding stop. And then this woman came and she said she can help me. She didn't want me to slow my mom down because she had a 1-year-old on her back. And my mom trusted her, so she left her with me. So later on, my mom left. She left with my little sister, and alright, I'm sorry guys. So she left the woman with me. The lady risked her life. she risked her life to help me. My mom and that woman later on met up, and she asked where I was. She asked where I was at, and she forgot to take me because she already had another little kid with her. So that lady risked her life again and went back to look for me. And the house that I was in, the people was burning it. And the people that I'm talking about are called the Hutus. The Hutus were burning the tent, and I was already in there. Little old me, only 3 years old, was in the burning tent. So after So the lady later on found me and she saved me, but there were people with her, and that was the people who came to help us stop the genocide. And before, oh my gosh. Later on, after they took me to the hospital, I met my mom and my brother there. My mom was crying because my little brother met up with her, and he was saying how my older sister is crying and lying on the floor. And there they met up. My brother was with my older brother. My older brother was with my other older brother, and he was telling him stories and making him laugh because he got shot. When he got shot, my brother was like telling him stories and stuff so he won't have to like die. My mom was screaming because she thought both of them got shot, but it was only one because my other brother was covered in my older brother's blood. And we came to find out that my sister died. She died when she was 12. That was the oldest among us. My mom's first child. Her name was Lucia Mukuye. My brother was traumatized on what he had saw after he got shot. My dad was with my brother while he was getting surgery, and I was with my mom. My mom didn't want to get surgery unless I got treated first. 160 people died in the Gatumba massacre. I came to America when I was 5 years old in 2007 in Syracuse, New York. And there we went and saw a lot of people who had survived. And we was happy to see them because after the war we really didn't have a clue on who survived and who didn't. I would like to thank God once again for saving my family. Yes, I lost a lot, but I still have to be thankful for the ones I have now. My mom got 10 kids, which is pretty amazing for a woman to raise 10 kids. When we came to America, she already had 6 kids. My mother is my hero. She means the world to me. Yes, of course, my dad is too, and I will never forget about the other hero, the lady who saved me. Right now, she lives in Canada, and I came to find out she's actually related to me. I would like to see her in person and actually thank her and give her a hug, because without her, my mother's help, I wouldn't be here right now. The ones who are talking to ask questions and they can answer them.
Is it working? It's time for Q&A, so if anyone has any questions that you want to ask all the authors that read today, is it not working? Okay.
If you have any questions.
So if you have any questions you want to ask all the authors, they spoken now.
Can I make a statement? Irene wrote this first block in the last 20 minutes. So to write all that in the last 20 minutes is amazing to me.
If nobody has a question, I have one. What was the writing process like, writing these pieces? Anyone?
I wrote mine in 30 minutes.
Yeah, too.
you provided? Okay.
I'll go.
Okay, please go ahead.
Some inspiration I got to write my poem was people that are next to me, along with my family, and people I look up to as civil rights leaders.
So I kind of wrote mine in the telling room, but the problem was I talk a lot. So I was talking to the lady that was supposed to be helping me, and then the night before, 20 minutes before I was supposed to go to the recitation room where I was supposed to recite for the people, I wrote mine with my sister and I finished it. And I always knew I wanted to write by my mother, but I didn't have a legitimate thing with the lady.
I wrote mine in the telling room, and it took me 3 weeks just to get the beginning very cut down.
I also wrote mine in the telling room too, and it took me like an hour to
I also wrote mine as a telling room, and I actually got my inspiration from looking out at the window at the time. And it took me
I wrote my first blog. And my inspiration came from the people I was listening to.
Yeah. Does anyone have any questions? It could be about anything regarding Kimona.
What was the process like moving to the United States? Like, was it like really emotional, hard? Like, what was it like?
No English, I think it's like the burden for us as parents, my family, no one knows English at all. So when we came here, it's really like a tough time for us to like learn new things. I had to come here.
Well, I didn't know anything, so they just had to put food in my mouth, and I was done.
I was born here.
For me, my dad won the lottery, and we were able to come. And I only knew the basic English, my name, all it was, and where I was from.
Can you describe what telling room for those who are in the telling room program?
It's a Young Writers and Leaders program who helps you writing and creating your own story and your own poetry, and helps you narrate it to the people that you know.
It's also a platform, so it provides you with a platform to be able to outreach and like network with everyone. So they'll give you a space to be able to talk in front of everyone, and they'll like rent out places and like invite people to be able to like share your story while also helping you write that story and help you like figure out things within yourself.
They're also, YWL is one of the programs they have. After telling room, 55% of the programs are actually during school or at school, and the rest are at the telling room. And it's a youth writing center where everybody's welcome from age 6 to 18 to come in and write. And also have summer camps. If all of you are interested, you can get a.
If you guys have any more questions or want to learn more about the telling room, we have flyers that we're going to hand out in the panel. And you could ask any one of us that do go to the telling room, and you could always research. It's really a great space to be there.
Hi. I imagine most of you, except Irene, who I hope you joined the program, most of you have read these stories in front of a room full of adults and some young people. How does it feel different to read this in front of your peers, and what do you hope that they get from it, especially those people that you've never interacted with?
I mean, I hope that they know how hard we try to like communicate things.
I wish that we could get to know other people better or their stories, so we get a better vibrant community within the school and within us. Yeah.
And I also hope that they get to know who we are as humans and as people that migrated or came here to look for a better life, to survive, whether it was for education or just migrated from war.
like a connection. So what we hope now.
Go ahead. How did you all get involved or hear about the telling room?
They came here.
She dragged me.
So they came here once, and I heard about it, and I really liked it. So I joined the program. Something I really proud of them.
For me, it was Miss C. She, I think, Molly, Haley, or I don't know, Molly, emailed him about that they were having a spring camp for the water route, and she told me to go in and just try it. So I went, had an interview, and I got it.
I got a call at 6 o'clock in the afternoon, and it was Sonia. She was like, "Hi Sarah, we really love your story. And out of 160 students, we only choose, wait, 160 plus 60? We only choose 32 students who perform in the Tuesday group and the Thursday group. And congratulations, you're one of them." And then I hung up.
Way in the back.
Talk a little bit about the revision process. So how is it different from the beginning? And you're working with mentors to do that.
How did it change from the beginning to the end?
Well, I didn't know how to spell, so the mentor helped me. And she mostly helped me with all my story, the editing process, and inspiring me. And where I didn't think of something, she would come up with an idea, and I would just continue on that. And the most important thing, and I really liked what she did, was, her name is Meredith, by the way. I love her. She would hear my story, and she would interpret it of what she thought, or what she thought of me when I read my story, and then we would put it in writing. And that's how it got inspired.
Well, from my poetry, from beginning to end, I could tell you, the beginning, making it, it's like trash. I don't know how much things I threw away. But I obviously get a lot of help from Sonia and Shima throughout the poetry unit. And I don't know how much edits we've been through. I could say, oh my gosh, that's like an essay sometimes. But throughout the end, it's changed by shortening it down really, and just getting to like what I want to explain in basic terms for people to understand. So I think that just a lot of editing, grammar, and just making sense of what I'm saying sometimes that just came in my head made it my ending better. Yeah.
So relating back to Mary, my problem was, me and my mentor, we talked a lot, but we wrote a lot too, so we had like 5 pages. My biggest problem was like minimizing those 5 pages, taking out all these different events. So I don't know if you guys remember, but during my pieces, it went from like, it jumped from one thing, from education, from things she went through, things I've experienced, and like, it was like 15 other ones. And then I had to like crop all those out in the last second, like I told you, the last 20 minutes. And I didn't like it at first when it was only me presenting that I realized I actually really liked the piece. And I was in front of people, and like during the process, halfway through, at the end actually, I was like, oh, this is something I'm actually really proud of. And I wrote this like 2 years ago, so like right now reading about it, it just took me down memory lane and realizing how much I appreciate my letter.
Okay, Tutu, how did you come up with your poem?
I was inspired by politics, religion, and race.
What motivated me was, well, a lot of my paper, but a lot of things I write about may be offensive, but it's something that needs to be heard because it's not heard enough in society, because politics everyone doesn't want to hear it. But the youth have a voice, so I guess we have to use it sometimes.
Does anyone else? what was going through your mind when you're moving to the country you're in the United States?
That I'm gonna live in a mansion, that everybody's gonna be like getting me honey, and I'm gonna wake up and my mom's gonna be like doing my hair. And yeah, and I'm gonna, not even a mansion, I'm gonna live in a palace, and I'm gonna go to 2 different schools a day, and I'm not gonna do work. I'm gonna learn English in a day. 9-year-old me.
For me, I thought high school was in the movies. I really thought about learning English and how long it was going to take me, and where my family was going to live.
I guess for me, even though I was born here, my mother, what she would say a lot was, she thought like you picked money off the trees. Like she truly believed that. So like when she was back at home, they'd be like, why aren't you sending me money? She'd be like, you know, I have to work for it. I work this X amount of money. I mean, X amount of time. People truly feel like you're lying. You get money off trees.
When I came here, I was a little over 1, and I came with my mother, but my father came here like a year prior to that, 6 months prior to that, and so my mom told me that, you know, getting here, my father was her motivation, being able to see him.
I was born in Canada, but my mom usually explains. She and her dad's sister came here because on TV they usually see like how immigrants steal jobs, steal that, and steal this, but like that sister came here, she got us a lot of opportunities, but like in reality, we don't do all that.
I guess it's kind of the same question, but like, what were the things that you knew about like American culture before coming here, and like, what were some things that were like a myth that like weren't true?
This is a free country.
Huh?
All the men. Life is all the men. The palace was a myth. That's why I was promised, and I was promised a palace. I lived in an apartment.
I have a question, and I want to hear from everybody too. What are your writing plans for the future? What are you going to write next?
My life.
Why don't we say yes? Who's going to start? Mary? Mary, why don't you start? And then we'll go down the line. What are you going to write next?
I want to write a book.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I want to be published by other publisher, not just the telling. Maybe if my sister was a publisher, I could use her, but no. I don't know, maybe my life
I'm gonna write about my experience in
If you guys could change one thing about your story, why and what would it be?
Do you guys get a question?
Yeah.
Oh, I have a question.
Maybe chemistry.
I would add more to mine, I think.
I would change the word express into relevant, because I can't say it. Relevant.
I changed my title.
I don't know. I like my story. I don't know. For me, it just is perfect. It's also add or
forgot it, but you can come back.
Does anyone else have any questions?